Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 16th day of April 2020. Well, we braved going to the store during senior and vulnerable persons 2-hour time period at Safeway this morning. All the checkers and store personnel, they were wearing masks and gloves. I don't know what happens after the vulnerable hours, but I don't know. I have to say, it's the first time I've been in there in a while. And I've been going to this other store that doesn't have as many people in it. I like it and everything, but sometimes I just need to shop at Safeway. And I've been ordering stuff in from Amazon and stuff like that, but sometimes you just got to go buy mushrooms. I don't know. So anyway, that's what we did. And we got up early and we just got back and went through the whole thing of spray. I mean, some people are wiping down their stuff that they bring home. I just spray it with an alcohol solution, alcohol and water. And so everything just sits out there unless it's perishable. We wipe it, we dry it off and bring that in. But everything else is just going to sit out there for a while and air dry. So I don't know. It's strange though. It was surreal to be in there. Some people didn't have masks on that were shopping, and but most people did. Most people had on masks and gloves, and it was funny when we all got up at the checkout area together, and it's like, oh no, nobody's observing 6 feet, so everybody's scattering, try to give each other more room. And it's like, oh my God, it was just so strange. I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. So hopefully I don't have to do too much of that. I'm just trying to go out every 2 weeks, and so far we've been able to do that. So I hope everyone's taking precautions and staying safe and staying well, and we'll get through this. People that aren't, I guess, in Deschutes County, my husband just said that he saw an article. Deschutes County is the county we live in. And I guess county workers, there's 100 of them that have been, that aren't observing physical or social distancing and protection. They're not observing it. And so they got in trouble for it. I don't know what's going to happen to them. I don't know if they're going to lose their jobs. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But when you can't even get county workers to do it, I don't know. They come into contact with people, and you can't create the sense and the fear out there that the local government isn't following its own guidelines. So that's a lot of people, though, 100 people. So I don't know what's going to happen to them, but it's just a little strange. I don't know. Maybe they're just not getting it yet. Maybe they need to have some time off. I don't know. Let's see. I did the astrology for 8:36 this morning. The moon is still in Aquarius. We're going to, want to network with others and everything. We're just going to do it safely. Again, pick your times. If you're vulnerable, if you're pregnant, if you're older, then if your grocery stores have specific times for you, then go there during those times. I know that they were limiting the number of people that could be in the store, but that said, there was quite a few people that could be in the store. You just have to give yourself room, so if someone's coming your way on the aisle, turn around and go back the other way, unless you get caught in the middle like we did. Oh, that was interesting. So we just sort of hurried by the guy, because there's like 3 people behind us. I don't know. It was weird. If you don't have to go out, don't go out. It's just too weird out there. Anyway, sun's still in the 12th house of Aries. Again, we're going to be feeling there's a bit of Aries in the astrology today. And so what that means is that we're going to feel like we want to do things, and maybe our impulse control will be lacking. So, but just make sure that it doesn't. Don't let it get the better of you. If you have to commiserate with people online, do so. You want to gripe about this or that, go ahead. Just don't spend too much time doing it, though, because that can really drag your energy down. Square Jupiter, we tune that in the sun. Keep your ego under control, avoid arrogance, obviously. Again, Mercury, 11th house, again, Aries. Independence and self-assertion are strong, but speak your truth, but again, do it from a distance. Let's see. Venus, 12th house, Gemini, you're going to be wanting to share with others and all of that, but again, do it safely. Mars, 9th house, Aquarius. Again, original thinking right now, particularly if you're working at home or trying to figure out what to do about all of that. We may have to start thinking outside the box. If things don't return as they once were, there may be some changes that need to take place. The other thing that can happen too is businesses may discover that they can make do with less space. So you might see some of that changing coming up as things get back to normal. Maybe some businesses might like the idea of having people work out of their homes and telecommuting or Skyping in or whatever, because perhaps it can reduce their overhead by not having as many people on site. So they don't need as big a place, maybe. So you might start to see some things change as we understand that we can actually function in other ways than the traditional ways that we do. Jupiter, again, 9th house, more 9th house activity here, this time with Capricorn. Still, we're reassessing our perspectives and perceptions. And we're really, there's a lot of 9th house actually, where we're thinking about life's meaning and how we see things. Maybe we have been caught up in one particular flow of thinking or belief structure, and now suddenly we're realizing that it's not really going to sustain us going forward. So maybe people are starting, now that they're having to socially distance and physically stay home, assuming they're in fact doing that, it gives people time to think, doesn't it? Especially when life gets all weird and you start to really search for new meaning and all of that. We get real philosophical. And I think that what you're seeing with a lot of stuff in the 9th house, we're rethinking on that level. Let's see. Again, Saturn's still 9th house Aquarius. Again, a reassessment of life direction, career focus maybe. We're going to be thinking outside the box, and again, specific perceptions may change during this time. If you thought certain things about this or that, maybe you're going to realize that no, you couldn't do that. And going forward, you can't do that. So again, Uranus still 12th house Taurus. We're going to be breaking free from old patterns. I don't know what's with my hair. It's wanting to go into my mouth. Stop it. But profound changes in order right now. And we're in a 22 year. And I think that we're going to see, again, structurally, things are going to change in our personal lives, maybe collectively in the country, maybe collectively in the world, how we move about between now and when a vaccine can be brought out. Not everybody's into vaccines, but maybe they're going to do this one. I think that we have to pay attention to the science on this. And I think that the people that don't want to do that are going to cause harm. And so think about that. Do you want to be the cause of harm for others? Still, there's a deception at work. We know that on the governmental level, on the federal governmental level, lots of deception going on there. It's weird because if the president says something just out of the blue, like, oh yes, all of that money went directly into the treasury. So now you have to ask yourself, well, so what didn't? Yeah, that's where we are there with him. He doesn't, well, anyway, you've heard me talk about this. Thing is that it's in the astrology. So not just the cards and the runes, but it's in the astrology as well. Again, Pluto's in 9th house Capricorn, another 9th house involvement where we're reassessing what we believe and what we think about things in a fundamental level. It's going to be a little bit of an inner focus with Pisces, maybe a little of emotional time. Meditation, is a good thing to do during this time. Get into a meditative routine that can even, you can continue on if you're not used to meditating. You might learn that you like it. Do it and see what you think. It might actually get you through this difficult time. And I'm beginning to hate that phrase, this difficult time. Aren't you? It's like every commercial out there for one thing or another is during this difficult time. It's like, oh, I know. Anyway, I don't like going out. I really don't. Lots of stuff in the 11th house, Neptune, Lilith, Chiron. I think that, the 11th house is about our relationships. And again, network with others, stay connected. People need that right now. Particularly, again, and I've said this over and over again, if you're estranged from anybody, drop all of that and get back in touch. It could just mean the whole world to somebody, especially somebody older, with hair like mine. You want to stay in touch with your parents. If you're blessed to have them, if they're still alive, then let them know that you're thinking about them. And if there's anything that you can do for them, however you can make that happen, you should try to do that. It's just we have this opportunity right now to drop resistance with one another, to stop being at odds with each other, and to just come back together in blessed unity with each other. That's who we are when we're not in bodies. It's who we should be when we are in bodies, but we forget that. We come through the veil. We're born into these bodies, and there's this memory lapse that we go through, and we don't remember who we are unless we choose to do it or something, when we're making the choice to incarnate. Unless we choose to stay conscious and aware of who we are, we don't. And it takes time to figure it out. And some people never do. And it's sad because you have to ask yourself, are the people that are not cooperating with all of this, are these people that are spiritually bereft, who can't understand even just doing something for the common good, just to protect people around you, just to have that level of empathy or compassion? Maybe they don't have it, and maybe that's why they're making these really harmful and counterproductive choices. So I don't know. But in any event, I guess that's it. There's not a whole lot that's different in the astrology today. So let's go ahead and get started with the reading. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for coming by and spending this time with us. Tarot and runes, they're astrology as well. They can help guide our lives. It doesn't lock us into anything, though. They basically alert us to influences and just things to be aware of, and see if we can maybe make the day a little bit more productive and more resonant for us, essentially. So it's just nice to check in every day and see what the cards and the runes have to say. And so let's go ahead and we'll take our first 3 cards. When we're done there, we might take a 4th or a 5th. I don't know. Usually it's just 3, but a lot of the time it's 4. But then after that, we're going to take a look at the runes, a rune from the Elder Futhark bag, and then we'll close out by creating a geomancy rune. And geomancy, if you haven't seen that, I do a monthly geomancy reading at the beginning of each month. It's over on the blog at Stepping Aside at imsteppingaside.com. And I also do a monthly tarot reading, so they're still there, so I don't take them down. I know we're halfway through, but you can take a look at that. And plus, I also do esoteric influences for each week. Those go out on Sunday or Saturday night. And but basically, other than that, on the blog, you'll find correspondences and astrological information for most days of the week, at least Monday through Thursday. So lately, I've been doing it on Friday and Saturday too. But if you need to work magic or something, you're wanting to do that on a particular day, then you'll get all of your influences right there and then you don't have to crack open the grimoire unless you want to. But if you don't remember, okay, what goes with this or what correspondence is for that, or if you're thinking astrologically and what's the current outlook for today, what's going to get in my way of doing what I need to do. So that's all there. And I do those for around noon each day. So anyway, let's go ahead and take our first 3 cards and see what they have to say. I take the 13th one each time for randomness sake. Well, here we have the Four of Swords. Swords is the air element. And we're not going to talk about it too much. We're just going to do them and then we'll talk. But it's the swords is the air element. So you're talking about reason and intellect, balance, justice, fairness. But here we're taking a little bit of a respite. Four is about creating a structure or a foundation or regrouping or something like that, reestablishing. And so respite is reestablishing a more balanced way of thinking or balancing our perceptions a little bit better. So that's what you're really looking at there. Let's do another card. Ace of Cups. We had this yesterday. Was it yesterday or was it Monday or Tuesday? We had it one day. I need to write this stuff down. I start to do that and then I don't follow through. Slacker that I am. But the Ace of Cups is about the genesis of new emotion, new love, new commitment, new awareness, maybe. I mean, basically, it's the free-flowing genesis of new emotion. But I mean, it's more broadly, more broadly felt than just that. We had this the other day too. The fifth card of the major arcana, the Hierophant, and I looked at it that day. I'm going to put him in the middle. You can move your cards around, by the way. Make the reading make sense to you. The thing about the Hierophant, and I did it a little bit differently. Usually, we're talking knowledge, tradition, and structure. We're talking maybe devotion to the Word of God, or the relationship between mastery and the I don't know, the student and teacher, basically. Because we have the Hierophant or the priest sitting between two pillars, 2 fingers and a thumb, so 3 fingers held up to God or to Source. We see 5 crosses, 2 of them you'll find down there. You can see them on his feet, on his shoes. And so there's 5 crosses. You can see 5 ticks on the little points on the crown there. You've got a tri-level crown. In a sense, it's about, you see the keys of, well, probably of Solomon, really. The crossed keys below. The Hierophant is basically, and how I interpreted it before was a little bit different than I'm used to interpreting it. And I think that it has to do with higher self. I don't think that it's about a learned teacher, although we could think of it in terms of, you know, the scientists and the medical professionals right now. Not the president, though, because he knows nothing. I don't even think he's capable of forming coherent thought anymore. Whatever is going on with him medically, because I think that there is. I think enough medical professionals have come out trying to warn people. They've been doing it since the beginning. What they've witnessed is not right. I know, and here's the thing, you know, that's not what they typically do. It's not thought. Look, you don't go and diagnose somebody that you don't have. You can't sit and observe in front of you. So you don't do television diagnosis, and that's essentially what's happening right now, or diagnosis by tweet. But it's all we have. And enough people have decided to step outside that traditional way of functioning. If you're a psychiatrist or a psychologist or whatever, or a medical professional of some kind, they've decided to step outside and form this group called Duty to Warn, and because they feel a duty to warn. And this is the first time this has ever happened. Now, you can dismiss these people, but I wouldn't. What we're witnessing isn't right. What we watch every single day is a function of whatever's happening to him. It's not something that's going to ever get better. It's progressive, and if he stays there, I don't even know what's going to happen. I don't even know. I would suggest that at some point they're going to stop televising those press conferences / campaign rallies live, and they need to. Because we're going to have to understand that unfortunately, the people that we could have counted on, we can't. And so now when I look at the Hierophant, I see it differently. I see it about counting on ourselves, counting on one another maybe, but not counting on the powers that be. We have to understand that we are, in fact, the true powers that be, essentially. And the one that got supposedly elected, which I have my doubts on that. I don't actually think. I think something happened. I don't think that he actually got elected, but that's just me. I think we're going to find that out, though, before too much longer. But I think that with the Hierophant, we're seeing a shift in our perception to self-reliance and self-discernment, trying to figure out over the last 3 or 4 years with someone continually telling us that the truth is not the truth and to listen only to him. And you have people that do that. And unfortunately, it's costing them, okay? It's costing their health. It's costing maybe everything for them. And yet, they're still doing it. You have governors that still haven't closed their state down. Still. All because they're lockstep with the guy who isn't well enough to even be there. This is the ridiculous part of this. So I think that after a moment of peace and quiet and respite, we're going to rethink things. We're going to let our thoughts come to a center point, to a still point, and we're going to allow everything to settle. And when that all happens, see, then maybe we can have a better awareness of what's really going on. But the bottom line is, we need to move forward together in shared purpose. For that to happen, we need to come into balance, emotional balance, basically. Let's talk about that little cross that the dove is, the disc with the cross that the dove is, that's hard to say, dropping into the chalice here. We talked about this cross before. Where's my pen? Where? Well, I had one. Oh, there it is. Okay. Now, this is not a religious cross. It's not a medical cross, although it can be thought of as something that's healing. You know, the Ace of Cups could be the genesis of healing. So we could start to see some areas maybe flatten a little bit with respect to what's happening. And let me get my tissue here. As I've told everybody, the juniper pollen, we've got these little alerts, you know, that because I have the weather app on both my iPad and my phone. And so periodically they'll come up. It's like, oh, yeah, you know, and right now juniper, and I'm surrounded in juniper, and the pollen is just crazy right now. And so you go out there and my eyes swell. Oh, my Lord, it's horrible. It's just this time of year. So I've been taking a lot of nettle tincture, and I need to do a good heavy infusion today. Herbal ones, so that I can maybe start breathing better again. My husband has the same problem. When he was little, he was like 6 or 7 years old. He fell out of a tree on his face, smashed the cartilage in his nose. And so they never did go in and ream all that out, or whatever you want to call it. And so therefore he has breathing issues, you know, that are just structural, and really they should have done something. But, you know, back then they didn't do stuff like that in the 50s. So anyway, about this cross, this is a recurrent theme in tarot. You'll see it. You see it a lot also with the hand reaching out from the clouds, also the 2 pillars. This is a continual theme in tarot. But this particular one has to do with, at least in my opinion, where we reside once we come into form. Now, I say, realistically, we need to be just slightly above the line, the horizontal line of the abyss. But all too often we live in the ego and we're down at the bottom. Even if we could just slightly move upward, we would be doing better. But the bottom line is, what we're talking about here with the free-flowing genesis of emotions is that we have a chance to focus in differently in terms of our perceptions and have them be based on spirit instead of on ego. Again, we have to let our thoughts settle. We have to think about what sounds reasonable, what doesn't. I heard a thing where apparently that strange Dr. Oz man guy, I don't know, Dr. Oz is saying that it's fine to let kids go back to school because 2 to 3% mortality is okay. Not my kids, not your kids. Whose kids is he talking about? Yeah, again, he needs a healthy dose of the Ace of Cups to align himself in source presence so that he understands that that's not acceptable. The idea of letting grandma die, taking this risk of going back and opening things up so that nobody's taking precautions anymore, and then we have this massive outbreak again. How many people die as a result? Oh, just to open the economy. No, what should have happened is this should have happened the beginning of February. And we'd be done with this. Or almost. You would see life getting back to normal. Maybe kids might be going back to school. I don't know. But it's not going to kill the kids to keep them home, okay? And to keep them in a safe environment. So you're better off to do that. So I don't know what they're talking about, but it makes zero sense to me at all. So again, take a look at what they're saying. Does it resonate? Does it make sense? Does it seem reasonable? If not, give yourself a moment to let it all settle in and figure out what you actually believe here. Stop relying on the guy in the Oval Office because he can't be relied upon. You know, if you need to listen to someone, you want to turn this guy into Dr. Fauci, fine. You know, or other medical professionals that are sounding alarms and making sense about all of this, you know, then listen to them. Otherwise, this is about self-reliance and coming into full awareness. You know, this is about intuition. It's about empathy, extending that to others, extending empathy to others. Well, we're doing pretty good on time. Let's look at the Elder Futhark room. I don't think I'm going to take another card. I just think that when we let our thoughts settle, we understand that caring about what's going on and doing the right thing for the collective is the only answer that we have. Well, we have Isa. We had Nathij yesterday. Isa's another Norn rune. This one's of the present moment, the static realm. It's about freezing things in place. It's also about development of the will, bringing ego in line with spirit. This cross that we're talking about, it's about bringing your awareness up here. You can think of that horizontal line as the abyss, the veil that we come through, that veils who we are, essentially, to our awareness and to our immediate perceptions. The further down we get on it, the less aware we're going to be. So again, you want to hover around the area of the veil so that, you know, or above if you can raise your vibration that high. It often happens through meditation. You know, we have a lot of ninth house stuff going on in the astrology today. So I don't know. I think it could really indicate starting a new meditation program if you're not already doing one. It can really realign things for you. And, you know, one of the things my husband said on the way home is that this is unsettling to be in that store. It's weird. It didn't feel right. There was a level of, I wouldn't say there was panic, and I wouldn't say there was necessarily fear. I think people were getting on with things. I think they were focused. But it was, you couldn't really be together. You couldn't really chat. You couldn't smile at one another because you can't see the face. It was unsettling. And I think that the fear of other people not taking it as seriously as someone else is doing. Um, all of it. It's like, can we please be on the same page for a while longer, um, so that we can truly get through this, and that so we can understand on the other side of it is like, okay, this is what we had to do. So when it happens again, we'll know, we're going to be prepared, right? We don't know what this thing's going to do, and no one's going to know for a while. So I think it just makes sense to stay vigilant, to stay alert, to stay watchful, to listen to the medical professionals, and ignore the nonsense coming out of the White House. They're never going to be there for us, whether it's in terms of stimulus checks or what have you. They're never, now some of that's going to be delayed because of his signature. Well, Carcer is our geomancy rune for the day. We haven't had that in a while. There's three. There's Carcer, there's Rubius, and then what's the last one? Cauda Draconis. They're considered to be, if you draw them, if you throw them the first time, that's the rune you create the first time in your reading. You're supposed to destroy the reading, but I say no. Geomancers of old, a lot of them, I guess, were men. So I don't know. Babies. Don't write me letters and don't at me. I said it. Babies. Men are babies. Yes, they are. Anyway, Carcer, it even looks like a little cage, doesn't it? Its complement is conjunctio, or joining. And I'll show you what that looks like. It's just that you just take these and you make their opposite. And it shows the whole energy surrounding containment and that's non-voluntary, and that's restrictive, and joining that's voluntary. So that would be conjunctio. But Carcer is really talking about the restriction that we're under right now. And I think that, in fact, my husband and I were talking about this as well, that I told him I thought that it was useful to think about, instead of being stuck at home, to being safe at home. It's a different perception. It's a different focus. It's a different viewpoint to be safe at home versus stuck at home. Stuck is oh, well, I can't do anything about this, and oh, woe is me. But no, we're safe at home is what we are. So we can self-isolate. We can look at this as being, I guess there was a protest in, what was it, Michigan. They're wanting to recall the governor. She's a Democrat. So the Republicans are wanting to get her out of there because she's shut down the state and she's shut down the economy. Well, again, these are very, very short-sighted people, and they're out there, well, I guess there was ambulances that were prevented from getting to a hospital. They blocked the roads. It was awful. But the bottom line is as much as we want the economy to be functioning, if it causes the death of everybody, then what's the point of it, right? So again, we had a major delay on the part of the president to get anything started. And now, instead of being there for everyone, it's like, oh, not my business. It's the state's business. And then he's going to go and bid against the states for the supplies and outbid them so that the states don't get them. So not only is it's not his business, he's going to take everything from us to make it enormously difficult to survive. Again, Swiss cheese for brains. There's nothing at work up there. There couldn't be, because none of this makes any sense. So whatever imprisonment, however you want to see this, the imprisonment caused by the guy in the Oval Office, or the self-imprisonment or self-isolation that we need to have in order to stay safe, it again is, how do you want to see this? If you're going to be looking at it in terms of lack or loss or oh my God, my sovereign rights have been impinged upon, okay, I suppose that's one way to look at it. But at the end of the day, do you want to survive this? sometimes giving up rights, you do it for a bigger reason. And then when that reason is over with, we can all go back to normal. But that's never going to happen if we don't do this now. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I just, people are either going to do what they're going to do or they're not. And I don't know what to say about that. And we'll get through this. I mean, there'll be areas that will get through this more quickly because they're observing it. California's doing pretty well. Oregon's doing pretty well, other than our 100 county workers here locally who are being idiots about things. And that's what they're being. They're being idiotic. So I guess that's the real message for all of this, is how we see this matters, and we can align in source presence and see this from a higher level perspective, one that gets close to that veil line, or because basically what we're doing there is the type of balanced energy exchange that we're living in is one that's predicated upon spirit and upon our soul guiding the choices and decisions that we make. And I think that it's going to guide our path forward back into shared purpose with one another. This is an incredibly profound year. We have a 22 energy for the year, the cosmic builder, a master number, the most powerful number we have. Today is a 7 energy, being the 16th. It's a 7 energy. So again, if you think in terms of the scales, come to the center point, come to, and I think Issa's aligning well with that. Come to your still point. Observe, let the scales come to their balance, come to their rest, all right? And then align in source presence. Be your own sovereignty, be your own leader, be your own teacher, be your own master. Because you can't trust the guy in the White House. It's not possible. If you're lucky like we are to have a good governor who gets this, then listen to your governor, listen to Dr. Fauci, listen to the medical professionals. I don't know about that Dr. Birx, though. I think she's a little drunk on the Kool-Aid. So sometimes you'll see these moments of panic in her eyes, and then she's, oh, don't do this and don't do that. The rest of the time, oh yeah, she's in lockstep with him. Anyway, we're gonna get through this. It's all gonna go away at some point. And we just don't know when. It's going to be later than sooner, but it's just what happened. And we're going to all have to get our heads around it. We're going to have to understand all about it. And hopefully we're going to get these other states, maybe if, and I hope it doesn't happen, but maybe if the pandemic explodes in these states, maybe they'll finally do something about it. But right now, he wants us to make ventilators to send to Moscow because they need them. Not the states, mind you, that are in desperate need of them. Oh, no. He wants to make them for Moscow. Yes. So there you go. So anyway, I will see you on Monday. I just do this 4 days a week, and I've been doing this checking in stuff on Instagram. So if you want to go look at that or something, you can get the link to my Instagram underneath the video here. All my links are under this. Also, what's under this is, and do I have it in here? I don't think I do. There's a couple of recipes under there for how to make a bleach solution. To clean things with. I got that off of, I think, did I get off the CDC's website or EPA's website? Something. I got it off of a government website anyway. And also there was another deal where you're making hand sanitizer with aloe gel or the liquid aloe. It's still kind of goopy, but then also you want to have at least 60% alcohol. You mix the two and you've got hand sanitizer. So the recipes for that, the ratios for that are underneath the video as well. And that's going to be there for the foreseeable future. So if you need to know how to do that, that's there. I have on my Twitter main page, If you go to at Mistress Jan, Mistress is capitalized, so is Jan, and there's an underscore between the two. Again, there's a link below the video. If you go to my main profile page, there's a sticky post that tells you how to, it's an article, it's an aggregate type one, it's got a lot of different mask, what do you call it, patterns in it. So I think it's from the LA Times, I think. Anyway, check that out. I'm sticking it there. I'm going to leave it there in case people need it. So I guess that's it. Look for the esoteric influences to come up on the blog this weekend. And we're not ready for the monthly stuff yet. I'll probably write something over on Medium. I'll let everybody know on the checking in videos if I do. And then I'm also going to put something up over there on Patreon. I'll do something like a tarot reading or something over there. I've got one that I'm doing a Thoth reading on, so I'll probably post that one over there, but not on the blogger or on Medium, just over on Patreon. So that's going to be, and that's a, that's a paid thing. That's a patronage site. So I don't have tiers established, but if you want to read it, you're going to have to sign up and donate something. So you can do it monthly, you can do it yearly. You can do it whenever you want. I didn't want to set up any ongoing tiers because I don't know, people are just in varying stages of income deficit right now. And I don't know. And it's a new account. I think I started doing it in December or something. I don't know when I started doing it, but it's recent. And so go over there and check that out if you want to. My Foundations and Magic series videos go up there first, and I lock them for about a month. Eventually they go live on YouTube, but not for a month. And so I have another one I'm working on, getting it fleshed out. And so that I'll let you know though when that one's going to go up. So look forward to that. I guess that's it. Have a good weekend. Stay as safe as you can. If you have to go out, I have to call the lady that buys my eggs from me. I've got to call her today and let her know how many. I got 10 cartons to give to her. And so I'll be doing that on Saturday. But other than that, it's going to be another 2 weeks before we go out unless the engine block gets done before then, and we don't think that it will. So anyway, I guess that's it. Stay safe, stay well, stay connected with people, check in with your parents if they're still around. I mean, just let them know that they're not alone and that you love them and that you're thinking about them and remind them to stay safe and stay protected when they go out. Offer any assistance you can, because this is a really scary time for people our age. So in any event, we'll talk soon. And if not before, I'll see you on Monday. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.